I'm Abby Williams.
And I'm Britton Ross, ready to talk all things Sooner sports.
There's less than a week until Selection Sunday. We have tournament chances and predictions for both the men and women's squads.
Plus an update on how the Sooners are doing on the diamond after home series with Sam Houston and South Carolina.
And a sit-down interview with two members of the OU baseball squad coming up later in the show. Now over to Porter squad on Saturday, a must-win Red River rivalry game between OU and Texas. It was back and forth all game. Bryson Goodine led the charge for the Sooners, putting up a team-high 14 points. But it wasn't all him. 6 Sooners scored in double figures against the Longhorns. With just over 2 minutes left, Goodine hit a big 3 to put the Sooners up 73-67, and Jeremiah Fears sealed the deal, sinking 2 free throws. Sooners win 76-72. Now Porter is feeling a bit more optimistic before Selection Sunday.
It's been huge for us to keep believing, for us to keep coming out here in front of everybody and just keep saying, man, we still got a path. We're still getting better. We're right there. And to see the guys get some results with their resiliency is exactly where we want to be going into this tournament where we can control it. We're playing better basketball.
2 games ago, most Sooner fans were certain Porter Moser's team was going to be spending their March on the couch. But after 2 straight wins, their chances of going dancing have gone up. ESPN currently has OU listed as one of the last 4 teams in.
Well, Abby, I'm still not too sure. They're still on the bubble, but they play Georgia tomorrow night in the first round of the SEC tournament. They already lost to the Dogs by 10 back in January. But over on the women's side, the SEC tournament is already over, and the Sooners took on South Carolina in the semifinals, and it was the second time they played the Gamecocks this season. The first being a 41-point loss for the Sooners. This one was a bit closer, though. Sahara Williams went off for 17 points, Peyton Verhulst for 15 on 3 of 6 shooting from behind the arc. But the Sooners' tournament run ended with a 93-75 loss. But OU did show improvement from the first matchup, and that's what's important.
We have to step up in every game, regardless of how big it is, and I think we've gotten better. I mean, we've gotten a heck of a lot better since we were in South Carolina the first time, and you can see that. But we got a long way to go, and especially the deeper you go, the more tired you get, and mental toughness comes out. That's where I feel like today we needed to be a little bit mentally tougher to start the game.
Yes, the Sooners did lose to South Carolina, but let's remember the Gamecocks just won the whole conference. There are a handful of teams in the NCAA that could give OU trouble in the postseason, but ESPN still projects OU to host the first round of the tournament.
And that is a massive advantage if the Sooners do host the first 2 rounds. I was there in Indiana last season, and the crowd they had was a difference maker for the Hoosiers. And the Sooners have earned that this year.
Yeah, they have.
Well, don't go anywhere. When we come back, we're trading the hardwood for the diamond. And a first look at OU football this spring. Stick with us. We've got more Sooner sports coming up. Welcome back to Sooner Sports Pad. We're taking it out to the ballpark because OU softball just started conference play. And the Sooners made their mark in their first SEC series where they took on South Carolina at home. In Game 1 on Friday, definitely a team effort to take down the Gamecocks. Isabella Emmerling hit a pair of 2-run homers, and freshman Gabby Garcia got a 3-run home run that helped the Sooners get the win 10-9. Now Saturday, Game 2. No big home runs here, but great base running allowed OU to compete the sweep, winning 2-1. Now head coach Patty Gasso praises Gabby Garcia's efforts over the weekend.
She was really trying to fight for a starting spot, and she's really settled into this and sees it well. Her swing is really sweet, too. It's a good swing and solid, and she can hit gaps, she can hit it over. She can lay down a bunt, create chaos, which she did. So she's really fun to watch.
I don't know how they keep winning because things weren't looking too great for the Sooners to sweep, and then they just pulled it out anyway. They've been so dominant that I'm starting to run out of ways to describe how good this team is.
This is the best way to describe the Sooners. Just when it seems like things are getting difficult, they find a way to end up on top. Higher competition is a good thing for OU. The best of the best don't back down from a challenge.
And now moving on over to L. Dale Mitchell Park. The OU baseball team had their last series before they start conference play, and it was a Sooners sweep over Sam Houston. 6-5 on Friday, and then a doubleheader on Sunday gave the Sooners a 7-3 win and a 9-7 win in 7 innings. The doubleheader was powered by 3 home runs from Easton Carmichael, Dawson Willis, and Jackson Willits. LSU transfer Cameron Johnson had a career high with 8 strikeouts in Sunday's Game 1. The Sooners moved to 14-1 on the season, and the Sooners are just focused on stacking wins.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if we can get momentum and keep it, that's the name of the game. The more momentum you have and the longer you keep it, the more success you're going to have. And we did that, and we just kind of focused one pitch at a time. And yeah, strung some hits together, strung some runs together, and that was huge, and that was the difference maker.
Well, now that SEC ball is starting soon, things are looking to get harder for the Sooners. The last 5 NCAA College World Series teams, all SEC. This conference has 16 schools in it, and 12 of them are ranked in D1 baseball's top 25.
And now they'll host Louisiana Tech Wednesday night at 6:30 before they start conference play this weekend with a 3-game series at South Carolina. And Abby, you've said it before on SportsPad, but SEC baseball is no joke.
Well, now we're going over to the mat where OU women's gymnastics is on a roll. The Sooners took on Michigan Friday night in Norman, where they posted their highest score of the season, highlighted by Jordan Bowers, who won a trio of event titles and a season high in the all-around at a 39.775. The Sooners got the wins over the Wolverine, 198.2 to 196.9. OU still sits at #1 in the country, and they just keep getting better.
This team is on another level right now, and you said it. They had the highest score of the season against Michigan, which comes at the perfect time for the Sooners as the postseason is just right around the corner.
Just one more meet in the regular season, and it's on to the postseason for the Sooners, like you said. The SEC championships will pose a challenge. OU only has 1 loss to #2 LSU, who they're likely to see again in the road to a national championship.
Well, the men's gymnastics team didn't compete last week, but there were 17 Sooners that competed in OU's annual pro day this morning, and it was full of highlights. Danny Stutzman right here repped out the bench press 22 times. That's 225 pounds, by the way, but it was Trace Ford that might have made the most money today. A 36-inch vertical jump right here, and then he ran a 4.55 40-yard dash. That is very fast for a defensive lineman, and even though he didn't participate today, former Sooner defensive back Billy Bowman is just focusing on the draft.
Just waiting for, private workouts to be scheduled with, specific coaches and things like that. So thought I'd just come out here and, support my teammates, support the guys that's going through the same process with me. Although, I'd love to do stuff, but, it's the smartest thing to do right now and just continue to go throughout the process.
And for the former Sooners, you might hear their names called at the NFL draft next month. Hopefully the frozen tundra is thawed out enough by then. Whose idea was it to host the draft at Lambeau Field in Wisconsin anyway?
Britton, I'm cold just thinking about that. But let's talk about Billy Bowman and Danny Stutzman, OU's most promising NFL prospects. Right now, Bleacher Report has Bowman going in the 2nd round and Stutzman to go in the 3rd.
And stick around, because when we come back, our Brooke Griggs has an exclusive sit-down interview with 2 members of the OU baseball squad. You won't want to miss it.
Welcome back to Sooner Sports Pad. Tonight we have some very special guests with us from Sooner Baseball. Michael Catalano and Kyle Branch. Michael is a freshman pitcher from Frisco, Texas. He was the 3rd-ranked right-handed pitcher and 16th overall player in Texas.
And Kyle Branch is a freshman infielder from Lucas, Texas. On the year, he's got a batting average of .352. He scored 12 runs and batted in 11 more, and he hit a home run in his first ever collegiate game back in the season opener. Brooke, take it away.
Thank you guys for coming and joining us. You guys have been on fire so far this season. Winning 14 out of 15 games is a pretty impressive stat. What do you believe is the key to your team's success so far this season?
I think the key might just be our preparation day to day, every day. Our head coach, Skip Johnson, he always talks about 1 pitch at a time, and I think that's been the biggest key.
Yeah, for me, I think us as a team, we're super close and, super close-knit. As a whole, we do things outside together, go eat and, all that thing. So, we just kind of, have a great bond as a team, and we all trust each other.
I love that. And then this is y'all's first year performing at the collegiate level. What made you choose OU as your second home, and what was that transition like?
For me, I chose here because obviously, we're going to the SEC, and which is the premier baseball conference. And 2.5 hours from home, my brother's here. It just kind of all made sense for me.
I've been a diehard OU fan since I was little, so it was really easy for me to decide. The coaches here, it felt like home. Just had a great relationship with recruiting, and I knew it was home.
And you both told me y'all played together before this. Did that have any part in you coming here?
I'd say yes. It was kind of a little package deal we had. We played here in the summer one time, and we both kind of fell in love with the place as a whole. And obviously talking to the coaches, we had similar goals, and we came here to win. And so I think that's why we both ended up here together.
I love that. And then Kyle, for your season opener, you scored your first home run of this season. Walk me through that experience. That must have been crazy for you.
It was. It was really cool just to see all the fans light up and kind of have that experience at home in the Dale, as they call it. But just put a good swing on the ball and ran like crazy. But.
And then talking about good experiences, Michael, you left Sam Houston scoreless the last 2 days. Tell me what your mindset is on the mound.
For me right now, I've learned a lot since I've been here. The biggest thing I've learned is to just, go up and fill up the zone, attack the hitter and challenge them. And, my stuff's good enough to where, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to win. So.
Okay. Hey, I love that mindset. And then also, y'all just talked about the SEC. You're going to be starting the SEC this weekend. Does it really just mean more for y'all? This is a whole different ballpark we're talking about.
That's the motto you see with SEC is it just means more. And for me, it really does. This is a new conference. We're all really excited, but I think getting back to realizing one pitch at a time and just taking it day by day is really what's going to help us in the SEC.
Yeah, and then I kind of agree with him. Obviously the teams are going to be better, and we're going to have to play a lot better than we have been. But at the end of the day, we're still playing the baseball, and go out and do what we do. And don't try to do too much, and we're gonna have a lot of success.
And I bet you guys will do just that. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and good luck tomorrow against Louisiana Tech.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Michael, Kyle, and Brooke. I'm looking forward to watching those SEC games when the time comes. Now, don't go anywhere. We've got a bunch of sports left to talk about, so come back after the break. Welcome back to Sooner Sports Pad. We've talked a lot of Sooner squads who were on their A game this week, but we still have more OU teams to highlight. I'll kick things off with a ranked matchup over the weekend for OU women's tennis, where number 14 Oklahoma hosted number 16 Vanderbilt. To start things off, doubles partners Gloriana Nahum and former Sooner Sports Pad guest Ava Tanzerite got the doubles point with a 6-4 victory. Another one of Sports Pad's own Emma Staker secured the win in singles. The Sooners got the win over the Commodores 4-2 and gave them their 6th ranked win of the season.
Well, how about some OU wrestling? They competed in the Big 12 championships over the weekend. Yes, the Big 12 championships, because the SEC doesn't have wrestling. 6 Sooners earned spots on the podium. Antonio Lorenzo and Gavin Sachs both placed 4th in their respective weight class. Combined, the Sooners finished in 7th place with 72.5 points.
Well, now we're taking it back to the basketball court and back a couple of years to when former Sooner Cade Davis called Norman home. Sooner Sports Pad reporter Hallie McPherson caught up with him recently with how he's still making a name for himself in Oklahoma.
Elk City native Cade Davis has been on quite the basketball adventure in his life. From Oklahoma to overseas, the sharpshooter has always had his eye on the rim, but it started with his eyes on OU.
Getting recruited there was fantastic. I'd received some letters from some other, prominent universities in the area, but I was kind of really hoping and waiting on the Sooners to come through, and Jeff Capel, his second year, reached out to me, and of course he'd been recruiting Blake pretty heavily.
Davis says it was a dream come true to play for his home state, but even more goals were achieved in March, where all the madness brought his favorite memories.
We made it through to the Sweet 16, we played Syracuse, and then ended up running against that year's national champion, North Carolina, and just to be able to be a part of that and watch great basketball was a joy.
The former Sooners career didn't end there, but instead took his talents overseas and became a professional basketball player.
My first 3 years I was in Macedonia. We played in the local national league there, Adriatic League, and then Europe Cup, where we got to travel to several different places. Played in Greece for 1 season. Then I went from there to Finland. It's really, really cold, but they play basketball up there. From Finland to Italy. We went from there to Cyprus in the Middle East. And then I went to Belgium, where I tore my ACL. Came back, rehabbed, and went to Malaysia. My final season of playing basketball.
And his love for basketball didn't end there. Kay Davis then became a graduate assistant for OU, and then after 2 years became a boys basketball coach for Cassidy High School. But his Sooner mentality remains.
I've had to tame a little bit of my competitiveness in certain ways, right? Had to have a little bit more of a reserve on the sideline as a coach. I definitely would love to still be playing, but every now and then I'll get out here with the boys and my body reminds me, like, you're the old man now. And so how quickly that changes in the course of just a few years. But yeah, still have the want to, still have the fight, at least in the mentality of things. And so
I'm obviously no baller and missed my shot, but Kay Davis definitely didn't miss his shot at shaping the future of the game, trading the basketball in for a clipboard, and now coaching here at Cassidy High School.
just want to pour into whoever will listen about the knowledge I've picked up overseas and throughout my wonderful coaches that I've had coaching me over the course of my lifetime.
Reporting from Cassidy High School, Hallie McPherson, Sooner Sports Pad.
Thanks, Hallie. Face-Off is looking a little different this week. Now analysts Britton and Brooke are going to face-off for the first time ever. Don't go anywhere. It's time to crown a new champion this week. For the first time ever, we have Brooke Griggs and Britton Ross competing in face-off. Now, audience, you know the drill. Our analysts will make picks, and you will cheer for the person you think had the better ones. So let's get started. Britton, which Sooner squad is your team of the week?
Well, this one was super easy. I'm going with the best team on campus right now, OU softball. They hosted an undefeated South Carolina squad, and the Gamecocks left with 3 straight losses. The Sooners are still undefeated at 22-0 and are still the #1 ranked team in the country.
All right, well, if there is a team Oklahoma is going to beat against all odds, it is Texas. 6 Sooners scored in the double figures, ending an 8-game losing streak. And to make things even sweeter, this is exactly what OU needed to secure a potential spot in the NCAA tournament. Do you even go here, by the way? Why would you not pick the team that defeated OU's arch rival?
Well, great picks from both of you. I do love a good Red River showdown, though. But now let's narrow things down and focus on just the OU women. Brooke, which Lady Sooner made her mark this week and deserves to be your OU Women's MVP?
I'm going with Jordan Bowers. She earned the honor of SEC Gymnast of the Week after tallying a season high in the all-around against Michigan. It couldn't have been a better senior night for the gymnast. Might I add, she is now tied for the lead in weekly gymnast awards in the SEC. Britton, take a bow for Bowers.
No, I'm not done talking about softball. Gabby Garcia is on a heater right now. After hitting a home run on Friday night, she extended her homer streak to 5 games. She became only the 2nd freshman to homer in 5 straight games. The other, NCAA all-time home run leader Jocelyn Allo, and she was named the SEC Softball Freshman of the Week.
Wow, OU women's basketball makes it to the semifinals of the SEC tournament, and no one picks anyone from that team? I get the South Carolina loss was tough, but that's some shade. Now for the men, which Sooner guys stood out to you?
Sorry, Abby, but the men's team is the team to talk about. It is OU Texas. That's why Jeremiah Fears is my MVP. After hitting 9 of his 10 free throws and scoring 13 total points, he was named SEC Freshman of the Week for the 4th time. And as of yesterday, the freshman was selected for the SEC All-Freshman team. Fears didn't even turn 18 a full year ago.
Talk about a free throw merchant. I'm switching back over to the mound this time because Kyson Witherspoon had himself a game this weekend. The Friday night starting pitcher went for 5 innings, only giving up 1 run on 1 hit, but he struck out 12 batters, including 10 in a row. That's more than 3 innings of straight strikeouts.
Okay, the audience and I have heard some great picks from both Britton and Brooke, but now it's time for these guys to make their pick. If you think Britton was the winner this week, let me hear ya.
Let's go!
Okay. Now, if you think Brooke is the winner, okay, I think the audience has spoken. This week's face-off winner is Britton. That's all we have from Sooner Sports Pat this week. For Brooke Griggs, Britton Ross, I'm Abby Williams. See you next week, same time, same place. Good night.